Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Got this video here from Ben Mysalis detailing a bit more what's going on with ICE and certain parts of the country. So let's go to the video here. You'll find this interesting.
Havoc is breaking loose across the streets of the United States. It's not just here in California. It's even in places like Utah, where there are ICE raids, militarized ICE going through the streets with like tanks as they're knocking on doors. It is so hard to believe that this is the United States of America, but this is what it looks like under the Trump regime. But some good news to report. A federal district court in California issued a powerful ruling on Friday, saying that the ICE operations are violating the constitutional rights of Americans by arresting people without probable cause, by racially profiling people, and a federal judge has ordered the Trump regime to stop its immigration arrests, although this order relates to Southern California only without probable cause. I'd like to see this order be also entered into in other places and other federal courts across the country. As I mentioned, nowhere is immune to what these ICE agents and these militarized ICE are doing. For example, this is an ICE raid in the suburbs in West Jordan, Utah. Watch as you see. It looks like an army is marching down the streets. This is exactly what our founders wanted to protect against. Here, play this clip.
Jesus, what the fuck is happening?
This is ICE walking down my street. There's got to be 50 of them. What the fuck is going on here? Holy shit.
Now, heading to New York. ICE interrogates kids at a youth baseball practice in New York, threatens to arrest the coach who was defending them and saying, "You can't profile my players." The coach coached baseball players, a lot of them from South America. Every kid on the team, though, was a U.S. citizen, although they're born from immigrants. Agent said, if kids are here legally, what do they have to lose? Let us interrogate the kids, coach. We want to interrogate them. The coach said, I told them they still have their Fifth and Fourth Amendment rights. This was in Manhattan's West Side. This guy had coached baseball for about 20 years. Hat tip to longtime first time for pulling this. Here, play this clip.
A coach for youth baseball in Manhattan says a group of ICE agents approached members of his team while they were practicing in Riverside Park. Eyewitness News reporter Sonia Rincon with the story from the Upper West Side.
The batting cages here in Riverside Park have been a little quieter in the last week. Harlem Baseball Hitting Academy founder Yeoman Wilder was coaching middle and high school students there on July 3rd when he says 6 ICE officers walked through the park past the basketball courts.
But I didn't really think too much about it. I just think, okay, they're ICE officers, because I'd seen them in Washington Heights before.
But then he says they approached the kids and started asking questions.
Where they're from, who are their parents, and I just thought, whoa, this is not good.
Wilder has a master's degree in law and told them they didn't need to answer those questions.
I told my kids to walk to the back of the cages, right here, and I said they're going to invoke their Fifth Amendment rights. They're not going to say anything.
He says one of the officers raised his voice.
That's when I was called a YouTube lawyer. And I said, no, I just know how the Constitution works.
And all of the kids, he says, are American citizens.
Their parents are, from the Dominican Republic, South America, Mexican, Africa. But they're kids who are born here. They have a 14th Amendment entitlement to live here.
We've reached out to Homeland Security to verify that ICE officers were here, but have yet to get a response. Wilder says they were armed, in uniform, with clearly labeled vests.
They look like the real thing to me. From what I've seen in Washington Heights, what I saw that day.
And he's reached out to local elected officials, like Assemblymember Linda Rosenthal, who says he was right to advise the kids.
No one has the right to take you away or to get any of your information.
I never in my life thought this was going to happen on the Upper West Side in New York City. That whole thing, you know, until it happens to you, you're not aware, and it happened to us.
Since the incident last week, the coach says he changed their practice time, but the kids and their parents are so worried that only 2 of them have been back.
Now, moving from New York to San Diego, ICE handcuffed a 71-year-old grandmother, a U.S. citizen legal observer. The agent pressing charges claimed that the elderly woman, quote, pushed me. She was handcuffed and detained for 8 hours, leaving her wrists and shoulders bruised. Barbara Stone is a legal observer. Her lawyer said she films the arbitrary detentions of court participants. Yes, I was trying to videotape. That's what we volunteers do. This incident occurred inside the Edward Schwartz Federal Building in downtown San Diego. I want you to watch as ICE handcuffs the 71-year-old grandmother, U.S. citizen at San Diego's immigration court. Here, let's play it.
In the hall where we were showing support for asylum seekers.
Barbara Stone calls herself a legal observer. She'll sometimes join a group of volunteers downtown to film when those asylum seekers are detained.
Yes. I was trying to videotape. That's what we volunteers do.
On Tuesday, the scene escalated. In this video sent to us by her lawyer, filmed by fellow volunteers, you see the moment it happens at second 12. Hey. Agents with Immigration and Customs Enforcement and the woman we now know to be Stone arguing in the hallway.
And there was a large group of people, and suddenly they were accusing me of assault.
You can hear the agents discussing that around minute 26.
Yeah, she pushed the officer. Do you want to file charges? Which officer does?
Sure,
That's the same officer who interacted with Stone at the beginning of the video, who now wants to press charges. As Stone appears to be exiting the floor, several agents track her down in the stairwell. The other volunteers follow behind.
Step out. Step out. She's getting
You hear the agent say she's arrested, although Stone says she was told otherwise when she was held in custody inside the building.
They immediately said, this is not an arrest. This is called a detention investigation, and so you are not under arrest.
Still, Stone says she was held there for about 8 hours. ABC 10 News was interviewing her daughter when Stone was released. Stone said she wasn't given any paperwork or notified of a future court date, but did say it won't stop her from being a legal observer again.
Oh, absolutely.
Now, moving to Cincinnati. That's why I want to give you different data points right here. The ICE detains a chaplain at Cincinnati's Children's Hospital. And this followed a lawsuit that was filed against the FBI. Granted asylum 11 years ago, has given pastoral care to sick patients ever since. The asylum was suddenly revoked. And this person had a lawsuit against the FBI's terrorist screening. So take a look at Cincinnati's children's chaplain, who was previously granted asylum, detained by ICE. Here, let's watch this.
Following a chaplain at Cincinnati Children's Hospital has been detained by ICE.
So a Muslim advocacy group was just outside of the Homeland Security office there in Blue Ash, demanding that Ayman Suleiman be released. Our Chris Jacobs here now with more on what we're learning. Hi there.
And some of the details of this case are unusual. So the group says Suleiman was detained during an ICE check-in earlier today, but they're also telling us, along with ICE, the FBI was also there as he was taken into custody, though we don't know why they were part of the arrests. That's something that's not always part of this process. Suleiman is well known in the community. He's a Muslim chaplain at Cincinnati Children's and is also an imam at the Clifton Mosque. Now, the group says Suleiman immigrated to the U.S. from Egypt over a decade ago and was granted asylum status. However, in December, we're told that status was revoked, though we don't have an exact reason. Now, since then, Suleiman had been regularly checking in with ICE agents. And today, during one of those check-ins, we are told he was detained. His supporters say they worried something was wrong when his asylum hearing was canceled but not his ICE check-in. At a news conference, supporters demanding his immediate release.
We want to know what is the message that this government is sending, where we expect people to adhere to due process and to show up for what is a regular check-in appointment and then get detained and taken away.
So the Butler County Jail is where many people arrested by ICE are held. One of the speakers at the conference today says that's where he's headed. We've reached out to Cincinnati Children's as well as immigration enforcement and have not heard back.
Now, we've been reporting of the brutal treatment of individuals by ICE in Camarillo. Remember how ICE has been raiding the farms now in California. They've been in Ventura County. They've been in Santa Barbara County, in Fresno County, in Los Angeles County, in Riverside County. I think I said Fresno County. Jamie Garcia died from the injuries he suffered during an ICE raid on his farm. Here, just watch this.
A sad update to a story that we first told you about on Eyewitness News this morning. Family members say a man who was on life support after being injured in the raid has now died. The family says that Jaime Garcia was being chased by federal agents when he fell 30 feet off a building yesterday. Garcia was taken to the hospital with a broken neck and skull. Garcia's family says he was working at the farm to send money home to his wife and daughter.
Now, one of the masterminds, and that's probably not the right way to say it, one of the individuals who's encouraging or inflicting this torture is Stephen Miller. Here's what Stephen Miller had to say on Friday. Let's play it.
And again, another example of how the city government of Los Angeles is waging a campaign of insurrection against the federal government. Let's be very clear. What would Los Angeles look like without illegal aliens? Here's what it would look like. You would be able to see a doctor in the emergency room right away, no wait time, no problem. Your kids would go to a public school that had more money than they know what to do with. Classrooms would be half the size. Students who had special needs would get all the attention that they needed. There would be no violent transnational gangs. There would be no cartels. There would be no Mexican mafia. There would be no Serenos. There would be no MS-13. There would be no TDA. You would be living in a city that would be safe, that would be clean. There would be no fentanyl. There would be no drug dens. That could be the future Los Angeles could have, but the leaders in Los Angeles have formed an alliance with the cartels and the criminal aliens.
Now, I'll share this with you as well. ICE raided St. John's Hospital in Oxnard, California. Take a look at this, and this video from TikTok has some other data points as well, some of the other stuff that ICE was doing in California. Let's play it.
It appears that the hospital at first locked the doors on them and weren't letting them in. Protesters showed up to protest them. It became a chaotic scene, but agents did eventually get access. They went in, they grabbed their person, got back in the vehicles, and then they left. Also, shout out to this old man. Video says Carpinteria, but I don't know if this is up there or not. But somewhere out there, he was on the road where he found himself with a military convoy behind him. He stopped his El Camino. He got out. He confronted the agents and wanted to fight them. To that old man in shorts and sandals with an El Camino, thank you. We need more folks like you. Because if that was a brown man, he would have been taken down and arrested. Well, that's it for today. Tomorrow, all eyes are going to be on that restraining order. Let's hope they get it passed.
And here, as we said on the Midas Touch account, if this is what you voted for, you are a horrible person, and good humans shouldn't be afraid to point out the horrible ones. A veteran, disabled veteran who was working at one of the cannabis dispensaries, by the way, owned by a Trump supporter, by the way, was arrested when he was trying to leave. U.S. citizen. He was disappeared by ICE. Here, play this clip.
Just an extremely emotional scene here. The minute that we arrived outside Glass House Farms, we met a sister and a wife of a man who works as a security guard here, George Redis. He is a disabled U.S. veteran. He is a U.S. citizen, and they are desperately looking for him. They haven't heard anything about his whereabouts from yesterday. They do say that he was taken in the raid. We want to show you a picture of 25-year-old George Redis, a U.S. Army veteran who his family again says is disabled. They saw via Air 7 yesterday that he was trying to leave the scene in his white vehicle. Take a listen to what his sister and then his wife told us.
I thought he was probably part of the protest, and he wasn't. He was trying to reverse his car They broke his window, they pepper sprayed him, they grabbed him, threw him on the floor, they detained him. His wife's been trying to call and ask where he is. They don't know where he is. Apparently, no one associates with nobody, so now we don't know what to do. We're just asking to let my brother go. He's a U.S. citizen. He didn't do anything wrong. He's a veteran disabled citizen. It says it on his car.
And I just want to know where he's at because I have not seen him. And I heard from him since yesterday. And I called LA and they keep saying that they're not going over there. And I just don't know where he's at. I've been up since 6 a.m. trying to call the sheriffs, the police department, Oxnard, Camarillo, Ventura, and I can't hear nothing. They say they don't know, they don't associate.
And as you heard from George Redis's wife, it's his daughter's birthday party tomorrow. She is desperately looking for George. She says that she has called every local police department, the sheriff's department. They don't know where he is. And so that's why the family is camped out here right now trying to find answers.
So, folks, that's what's going on the street. We'll keep you posted. More updates on what's going on with that lawsuit. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 6 million subscribers.
Yeah, it's pretty deplorable, the whole situation. Stephen Miller really is a fucking Nazi wannabe. Okay, let me tell you something. He's going around saying, people in Los Angeles are out there siding with the cartels and gangsters when they're trying to oppose us. Yeah, okay. If cartels and gangsters were all you were after, you'd already be done by now. Okay, but who are you grounding up here? You're going after kids. You're going after people who are just living their lives. Are these cartel people? Are these fucking criminals? No. You got ICE going after everybody, racially profiling people. Okay? That's not allowed in this country, or it shouldn't be. I mean, we've sued policemen for doing that kind of crap. But you got people out there doing all this crap, and it's not, there's no justification for it. And the fact that you round up somebody who's active duty in the fucking military, I don't even know why the military even allows that to go on. Okay, because that to me sounds like, you're stepping on somebody else's government toes here. Okay, ICE ain't gotten any authority over that. If that young fellow there was a target for ICE, then how the fuck did he ever get in the military if he wasn't a citizen? Do you understand what I'm saying? If he's in the military, then that should be no fuck, hands off, okay? Leave the guy alone. But no, what do? They go in there and they take this fucking guy and give no answers or allow anybody to find out what the hell's up with that. No. People in the military should be, leave them be. But, yeah, Stephen Miller, he's a fucking asshole. Okay, what he's trying to do is change the narrative. He's sitting there on the state-sponsored Fox News, okay, on their propaganda machine, giving them a talking point, basically, on how to counter the resentment against Trump and his ICE activities, okay? He's on there saying, well, if they're siding against it, they're backing the cartels. Yeah, right, okay. You guys have been in Los Angeles, or the state of California, for what, 2 weeks now? All right, and if they were the only people you were after, you'd have got them all already. But now, Stephen Miller, you're going to have to worry about something else. Everybody else. You're pissing off everybody, not just the cartels, but everybody. People that are living their lives in their neighborhoods. Now, you're going to have to worry about these people grouping up and opposing ICE. So now you're creating a whole new kind of gangster. People that are opposed to you and ICE. That's what's happening now. So he thinks he's solving a problem, but he's actually making a bigger problem because of this half-assed, sledgehammer way of doing things. Okay, ICE agents aren't supposed to be like people marching down your fucking streets with masks on and guns in their hands, intimidating communities, okay? That's not going after cartels. That's not going after criminals. You're scaring everybody with this shit. All right. You've taken your job. You've taken the assignment that Trump gave you too fucking far. Okay, you've gone too far. Now, just because Trump is allowing you to do that doesn't mean that he's right either. You understand what I'm saying? Taking orders from a fucking criminal does not make what you're doing any better. So you're actually being a criminal yourself by following orders of a criminal. You know, this is the reason why we don't allow people like that to be in leadership positions. If they're criminals, they cannot run for office, because everything they do is fruit from the poison tree is what that is. Everything that Trump does now can be put under a big fat spotlight, because it's all under the guise of criminality. Everything. And believe me, judges and lawyers, they're all saying this is unconstitutional on so many fucking levels. It's unconstitutional. Okay? So, Stephen Miller, just because you're following orders does not mean that what you're doing is right. It just means you're following the orders of a criminal, and that makes you equally guilty and makes you equally criminal. So, if you want to get rid of criminals in this country, you ought to put yourself on the next fucking plane out of El Salvador, because you're one of them. So, I don't know how this ends, without violence, but it really looks like ICE is just pushing forward to create the violence that they're supposed to be out there trying to stop. All right? Because people are getting nasty. That guy that fell 30 feet to his death, you think that's going to go unchallenged? You think people are just going to soak it up and move on with their lives without retaliation? You do that enough fucking times, people, and you're going to have more than a cartel to worry about. People on the streets are just going to come together with sticks, with guns, with whatever the hell they can get their hands on, and they are going to stand in opposition to you and your agents. Okay, and I don't care how many fucking military people you got supporting them. Everybody, hey, numbers count. When they're facing down the anger of thousands of people standing in front of them, what do you think is going to happen? What the hell do you think is going to happen? And this is all you're doing. You and Trump are creating this fucking mess because you're not doing things the right way. This is not how you deport people out of this country. If it was, it would have happened under Biden. It would have happened under Obama. It would have happened under Bush. It would have happened under Bill Clinton. No, these people took care of immigration in this country the right way, the legal way, the constitutional way. All right? And just because you guys, you're so racist, you can't get rid of all the people that you can't stand in this country, because you can't get rid of everybody, even those who are not illegal. This is not going to solve your problem. You're only going to make it worse. This is, it's like overcompensating for an issue that you guys have. I mean, you really overcompensated here on this. This is not the way you're supposed to do this kind of stuff, okay? Take it from me. I know this shit, okay? These people, these ICE agents are not trained very well in what they're doing. I don't know what the hell, where they get their training from, but whoever taught them that marching down the fucking streets in numbers, like in a parade with guns and all that shit and tanks, is how you take care of illegals, was probably snorting coke or something like that, because that certainly is not how it's done. All right? Jesus Christ. I mean, we're talking about the United States, not some country in the Middle East here, But you're going to turn America into one of them countries, or people are going to set up fucking EDDs and shit like that on the fucking road just to blow these fuckers out. I mean, Jesus. Think about the fact that you're going to have terrorists in this country because we just bombed Iran. Okay? You're going to have terrorists in this country now. And hey, they're going to happily join up with any civilian group that's going to be out there opposing ICE. And they're not going to do it nicely either. They're going to come back and it's going to be in blood. Jesus. It's going to be the streets are going to be filled with war in this country. And it's all because of Trump's stupidity, his arrogance, his criminality, and all the fucking people that enabled him to do this stuff and get away with it. That's the way this is going to shake down. You know, I don't know what to say. I mean, other than that, I mean, it's crazy. It's sad to see this country go down this way. But, you know, anybody that thinks that I'm siding with cartels by saying all this stuff is out of their fucking mind. You need to stop drinking or snorting whatever the fuck you're doing, because you're watching propaganda and you're taking that as the gospel. That's what you're doing. You're watching that shit and you think that everything they're saying on Fox News is A-okay and it's right. Well, it ain't. It's just not. Okay? People in the government can be wrong. Presidents can be wrong. That's already been proven to us many times before. And this is one of those times where our president is so wrong, it stinks to high heaven. And this guy has to be opposed, and everything that he does has to be opposed to bring a stop to this, okay, before it goes too far and we end up with unsafe streets and unsafe neighborhoods. People are just going to take matters into their own hands, because that's what we do in this country. Okay, we've always been this way. What, you know, guns and all that shit. These are the people that want. Where are the militias right now? The ones that were warning us about. Oh, one of these days your government's going to come. Okay, well, it's happening. So where are the militias? Okay, or was it only Republicans that were the militias or something? And of course we have a Republican president. They're not going to do anything. It really begs the question, doesn't it? All these people there that we were always worried about, they're gonna, no, come on. We all know now what these militias are all about, okay? You know, it's, you know, all political and it's all about them. Their whole goal was, oh, it's the Democrats are gonna do us in, the Democrats. Well, now it's their own party doing us in, and they're quiet. They ain't doing anything, okay? If they really believed in what they were stood for and what they were telling us, you know, about government tyranny and stuff like that, they'd already be out there right now fighting with ICE agents. Okay, they'd already be out there now. All right, well, that's it for today, so I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.
Hi, Philip. What are you doing? Did you steal the cat food again? Did you steal the cat food again? Oh, you got some nerve, buddy. You know that? That's not yours. Hey, excuse me. That's not yours. You don't care, do you? Oh, boy. You got a bad attitude, buddy. You got a bad attitude, you know that? Hey, Philip. That's your name, isn't it? You better get out of there. If my parents see you out here, they're not going to be too happy. Get out of that cat food. Get out of the cat food. Oh, get going. Get going.